Sometimes life is messy. Have you ever wished you could refocus your mind, home, relationships, and work life? Join us as we use research-based information to make practical changes and simplify life. This is Life Simplified.
Welcome to Life Simplified. I'm Amanda, and I'm your host for today's podcast. And our topic today is alpha-gal, or commonly known as AGS. So that's a new abbreviation that I learned through some trainings through Extension. So the information we're going to be sharing today is all research-based, and there's a publication, and then there's going to be a website that we can link in the show notes if you're interested in reading a little bit more and learning more about alpha-gal. It is a common phrase here in Kentucky. We are really high on, especially Western Kentucky is probably the highest for alpha-gal syndrome in the state. And so today we're going to be just kind of talking about what it actually is, how you get it, some symptoms, and then talk about a little bit about the lifestyle changes that people who have this have to make when they have alpha-gal. We're going to start talking about what is alpha-gal syndrome. So you may have heard it referred to as red meat allergy. A lot of people think of that. It's a condition that results in an allergic reaction to some animal products after a tick bite. So more specifically, it's trending to be a Lone Star tick. And so those ticks, if you look at some of our links, it actually has pictures of it, but it typically has a white dot on the back of it. And those are only in the adults. So the larger they are, you can see it. If you are bitten by a baby, I think it's a seedling, don't quote me on that, you won't be able to tell unless you actually send it off to be able to tell what it is. So that is the tick itself that's actually associated with AGS in the U.S. So a bite from these ticks may cause a person to develop an allergic reaction to galactose alpha 1,3 galactose. It's a sugar molecule found in the meat of some mammals. So the mammals, and you probably make sense, would be a cow, a pig, a lamb, commonly things that are associated when you hear red meat. So the name alpha-gal comes from the name of the sugar that causes the allergic reaction itself. So that's where the alpha-gal came from. So it's a sugar that they get when that tick bites that animal, and then it's on the tick itself. So then when that's like they're transferring it to you.
That makes a whole lot of sense. And I did not know, I knew about the white dot on the tick, but I didn't know that it wasn't on the baby.
Right.
So that's interesting to me that...
Mm-hmm. And I never thought about it until, I guess it was this week, I was talking to somebody who has it. And she's like, my levels have really flattened out. Like, I was doing great. And she said, but then I had a bunch of, like, little bites on me. And she thought they were chiggers. And then her levels spiked. So she thought, man, what have I eaten to spike my levels back? And her doctor thinks, now, that who knows, that it was baby ticks that bit her, which flared her reaction again. So it's a lot, and I think it's something to put in here is that it's very new, and I think they're learning a lot more as research goes on. And so just keep up to date if this is something that you have, or if you know someone who has it. So we're gonna just kind of revisit how you get the red meat allergy. So the Lone Star tick feeds on other animals, like we talked about, and possibly ending up with the alpha-gal sugar molecule in their mouth or saliva. So when they feed on a human, they may accidentally inject that into your bloodstream. So that's, again, I know we talked a little bit about it, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate exactly how the process works because it seems complicated. Humans don't have alpha-gal in our blood. Therefore, when a tick passes it to your body, it may mount an immune response to the foreign invader. So that's where the reaction comes from. We don't typically have that alpha-gal in our blood. So unfortunately, alpha-gal is present in red meats. So therefore, even after you cook a red meat, it still has presence in there. So when someone that has alpha-gal in their stomach, after developing the syndrome, when they eat that item, it flares up.
So it's kind of like an autoimmune response. It's kind of like someone who has an autoimmune disorder. Mm-hmm. Your body recognizes something within you as foreign. It attacks it, which causes inflammation and pain and whatever the site is. This, we're actually injecting something that shouldn't be in our body, and then it's attacking it in the same fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that clicks for me because I have an autoimmune disorder, so I understand the process of that. I didn't realize that's how this takes place, but that helps me understand it a whole lot more.
Right. And for me too, because I don't have it, but I know people who have it as well. And like I said, we'll link this in the show notes so you can kind of read it for yourself. But the good news is, and I highlighted this because I was like, hey, this is good. Not every bite from a Lone Star tick will result in alpha-gal. So if you have a bite, you find one of these on you, it's not like it's guaranteed that you're going to get it. So that is a positive thing.
Do they know, and you may not know this, so it's fine to say we don't know that yet. Do we know, does everyone respond the same way? So if a Lone Star tick bites the four of us in this room, and they do in fact have this sugar molecule in their mouth or saliva, would we all automatically, because it's foreign to our body, begin having alpha-gal syndrome? Or could some of our bodies not recognize it, not attack it, and we're fine while others would?
So it's different for everybody, which is kind of like any sickness that we get. Mm-hmm. So that kind of goes into the symptoms. And so it kind of said people who have it have reactions like other people with food allergens. So they're food allergy reactions that they'll have, but it's not different. Because I know the people that I know, they all react differently. And so it's on the mild end to severe.
Okay.
And so the most common symptoms, a skin rash, hives, digestive tract issues, and breathing problems, which is very scary. And that obviously that's on the more severe level, but that is some symptoms that people have, as if they start developing this allergy or it flares up, then they, have trouble breathing, which is very scary.
We get a lot of questions, and so I'm really thrilled with this research and these publications that we have. And I know you're going to tell us more about recipes that we might have that we could give to someone who has alpha-gal syndrome. But I have some people that have called and said, we can have a little bit of dairy. Not a whole lot, but I can have a little bit, but I can't have any beef. So, and I guess that's because it's either on the severe end or the mild end. And so we're all reacting differently. But I find that really interesting. And I think it's one of those things where you're going to have to read your food labels and you've got to change your lifestyle, which is very, very difficult.
And I think what I've learned from just talking to other people, this is not in, the publications that we're showing you, and it's kind of depends on your levels. So the less you have reactions to foods, or if you don't get bitten again, then you may go back to like a 0 or whatever the level numbers are, and you can eat more dairy, or you can have meat again. So after, it could be years, it could be months, and a lot of people get bit again, then it flares up. So then I think it's like a cycle. But so some people who may have not been able to have dairy or have meat can eventually have it again. The severity of the condition, like we talked about, is different for everyone. So a person with AGS may have delayed allergic reaction, which could occur anywhere between 3 and 6 hours after ingesting a mammalian meat or byproduct. So I thought that was interesting that it's that long of a time that you may ingest it and may not even know, because some people don't know until they eat something. And And it's just important for you to be aware, and that's why we're talking about it, that it could be something that you have. So the symptoms of alpha-gal might decrease over time, so particularly if the person does not get any more bites from ticks carrying alpha-gal. So in some cases, this has taken 3 to 5 years. New tick bites from ticks carrying alpha-gal can restart the allergy. These factors make it difficult for you to recognize and be diagnosed with AGS. So symptoms of AGS may not appear actually until 7 months after the tick bite.
Oh, wow.
So it may take 7 months for you to actually react to it.
And by then you've forgotten that you had a tick bite.
Yeah.
If you're me.
If you're me, you're sitting around for 7 months like, when am I going to eat something and I'm going to feel a little horrible.
Exactly.
'Cause in my head, you're usually like, okay, I'm cleared. I'll wait for a week or two, a month. I'm feeling fine. It's probably okay. No, I'd be sitting around like, okay, all right, it's been six months and 3 weeks. I've got one more week to see what happens.
Hold on. And if you was me, you would start showing some of them symptoms like, okay, do I have it now?
Yes.
So
it's a lot to really understand, and I think it's interesting to see how it unfolds, I think, in the future. So let's say you are diagnosed or with it, or you think you may have it. Lifestyle changes do have to be made to accommodate this allergy. So we're going to talk a little bit about what lifestyle changes have to be made, and this also, if you don't have it, it could help you if you know somebody, if you're preparing a meal for them, or you're simply going out to a restaurant to do a little bit of research to know whether they can have items from there or not. So there is no known treatment for alpha-gal syndrome. Instead, like we said, lifestyle changes need to be made to reduce the symptoms. People who have it must remove beef, pork, lamb from their diets to avoid the reactions. But there are other things that are made with these products that you have to eliminate as well. Other foods could be broths, stocks, gravies, and other items made with lard or anything related. So it's not just you can't have meat, right? Mm-hmm. Several food additives that utilize ingredients from animals may also cause reactions. So these may include gelatins, magnesium. So several food additives that utilize ingredients from animals may also cause these reactions. And so something to think about, like some dietary supplements actually have that in there too. So it's more than just not eating meat or broths or anything like that. Someone who has this really has to read the labels and really know what they're ingesting. And like I said, some medications even have it in it. So depending on the severity of the condition, some people may still be able to have dairy, which is a good thing. And Ashley mentioned that earlier. Those with more serious form of alpha-gal may not be able to tolerate dairy at all. So it's different for everybody. So you may be thinking, I can't have red meat. So what other sources of proteins are there for me to consume? So there's some suggestions. Poultry, of course, chicken, turkey, duck, quail. Some seafoods, if you think about seafoods, eggs, beans, nuts, and seeds. So those are some safe things, proteins that you can consume that do not have red meat. So with those lifestyle changes, you may be thinking, like, what can I eat? Are there ways that I can adapt my recipe, which we talked a little bit about substituting meat and different things like that with those leaner meats or non-red meats. We actually have a publication that we can share that have alpha-gal safe recipes. And so it has a QR code or it just has a list. And so this is something that you can utilize from our Plan, Eat, Move website, and you will be able to go on there and look. So some examples: crunchy Hawaiian chicken, an easy chicken dinner. They actually have turkey butter squash and turkey chili. So there are ways that you can adapt And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but again, like I mentioned earlier, if you're hosting somebody who has the allergy at your house, this may be a source for you to kind of look at and be like, well, what can I fix that they can eat and not feel left out, and you're not calling attention to their allergy. Thank you all for joining us. It's a heavy topic and it's a lot, and I think there are still a lot of questions that I can't answer, and that's why there is research. And so continue to do your research, look at all the different resources, but just make sure you're utilizing resources that are actually research-based. Look for those sources that are .edu or .org just to make sure that you are using a reliable source. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Life Simplified.
Thanks for listening to Life Simplified. We are family and consumer sciences agents with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Contact us at lifesimplifiedpodcast@gmail.com.